Hello, welcome to Biomutant. Literally the intro for the game every time you open it. But, yeah. Did some messing around, decided I actually want to go with this rat-looking thing here. That, and I went heavy into charisma, but you'll understand. I played the game
genetic resilience
a little bit, and I realized that, because it's a rat, I realized that specific skills to me are way more useful than some of the others.
Choose your first
They're all
style.
useful, but I prefer some of the others.
Drawn into the spotlight of a story that's already begun. We're already at a crossroads. Choosing a path in life is that fork in the road where you make a choice or simply stop living. But for you, it's not only a crossroad, but a choice. A reflection of your key, the primal energy that flows through everything.
Here's one where people get upset with me. Because I tend to lean towards dark, but
Let me introduce myself. I'm the light and bright side of you, or your inner voice to be precise, an echo of balance and consequence of your actions as you move forward.
That's right. Light is only for those
Not a
having
big fan of
seeing what's
right.
in front of them. Sticking to the me first path is the only way we'll be going places.
I'm surprised at the change of heart. I believe in putting yourself aside to help others, but helping the dark side is not that, you know.
You can't fight who you really are. The blood is obviously running red in our veins.
You're trying to keep us in the dark here, but you know it's blue blood in our veins and what it means. We have responsibilities. You can't fight the truth.
better. I don't.
Guess left can be right sometimes.
You know what? I've always gone left. I'm not right.
Right is always right.
No, it's not.
Stories of death and the bodies left behind. A reminder that we're at the mercy of nature and the one that preys on others. Do you remember the beast that shattered your family, or did you choose to forget? You turned your back on our world and got lost in your own. Meanwhile, the predator only grew stronger. Better make a run for it. This is not the time nor place to end this story. The predator isn't the only threat. The wildlife started to mutate when the end of days began, and the tree of life started to die.
By the way, I would recommend playing this on controller, not mouse and keyboard like I am. It's not easy. Nope.
Oh, painful.
Goodness, that weapon hits way harder than what I'm used to. I like this thing. Sorry, side note. It hits hard. Ooh, what's over here? By the way, having a little bit of ADD, what's over here, is actually really good for finding stuff in this game. Just so you know.
The oil sludges everywhere. To most, it only means death. But some have adapted to the new environment and changed with it. Evolution has its ways.
Hey, bud. Come on. Go on. There we go. Alright. Goodness, this sentinel weapon. Like, if you want... This is what I recommend for starting out. Goodness gracious. That is a ton of damage. I started out with Saboteur, so maybe it's also the weapons I was using. Yep. Yep. What the? Ow. Oh, come on. Never claimed to be good at this game. Combat is fun, I'm just not good at it, especially on mouse and keyboard. I genuinely think controller would be much easier, because it is a, like you have alt right click, jump right click, jump right click left click, or something like that. But you don't have them unlocked yet, but they do exist, and low armor. Why? There we go. Leveling up's pretty simple. Honestly, why does the rat look so good? It looks like a rat, but... So, over here you've got vitality, strength, intellect, agility, stuff, so on. I tend to, on my other playthrough, I'm pouring pretty much into charisma and luck. And that is because, like, luck is finding loot, and charisma is getting items from shops cheaper. Just pretty useful. But I think I will go with strength for this first one. Yeah, we're gonna do close combat. So see, right there's right click, and F. So that's what it was. It was the weapon type I have. That's why it's doing so much damage.
An emergency box from the once was. A rare sight.
Basically, I also find it amusing how this game goes from... Well, this game takes the saying, which is more correctly, nature finds a way, and makes it evolution finds a way, like... Yeah, still a theory, sorry. Gotta remember
The
Perry.
morgues produce biomatter in their multi-organ that they shed under distress. Blobs that affect the cellular coding strands of any living being when absorbed, including you. Crush lust.
Okay, that's good to know.
Sure useful.
So, parrying is way more useful. I should have been parrying more. I'm gonna show you that that dodge roll stamina cut is massive, because like even with this you can dodge roll pretty often. Like Dark Souls 2, womp, womp,
Your
womp,
key is gone.
whack! But that's with the other character I have. You can dodge roll and do a literal Dark Souls. Hey, wham! Hey, maybe I should come back here later. Might be able to punch through that. Sorry, later stuff I should talk about.
Toxanol built vessels called arks to save themselves from the impending doom. But was it too late? It is only from the flight logs of the single ark they left behind that we know other arks traveled through the sky and beyond. It seems those that came before us never lost hope in finding a new home for their kind.
Yeah, rundown of the world creation thing is just, and I'm not saying any of you didn't get it, it's pretty simple. It's people due to mining and everything destroyed most of the world.
There are few records of the chain of events that led to the big apocalypse eons ago, but it's clear the world wasn't prepared for how recklessly the Toxanol Corporation would make its mark on the world. Their rare earth mining and nuclear industries generated tons of waste, and without consideration for the future, they dumped it all in landfills until they ran out of space. That's when they made the big mistake. They began dumping the toxic waste in the surf just off the coast instead, assuming that it would sink and decay with time. And they were right. But no one was prepared for what was about to unfold. Once in the surf, the radiation interfered with the genetics of the wildlife and created bizarre mutations in their offspring. It had an inconceivable impact on biodiversity and the entire ecosystem. The world as they knew it crumbled as nature retaliated. It would never be the same again, and what remained of it became ours.
I'm gonna take a stab and say it removed biodiversity and did not add to it. But yeah.
The sound of spark metal going pew pew is never a good thing. It's coming from behind that door. A warning label. The box looks like a potential brain melt.
One thing I might say is even though I find the language,
It's going to take a bit of puzzling to short
No, it's
circuit
not.
the door.
even though I find the language in the
Just a few
game
moves left. Make them
a little annoying at times, is actually a lot of the
There you
game's
go.
charm. It's just a weird little language in terms. I can get the loot later. Alright, long dialogue trees.
He wants to thank you for taking his side against the scavengers. He sounds familiar. You just can't figure out why. He presents himself as out of date. He knows he's way overdue, but he hasn't given up. He doesn't seem surprised that you don't recognize him. You were just a child back then, the night everything changed. There have been rumors of a one-eyed Ronin seen outside the Great Wall, and he's happy to see it's true. The legend of the one-eyed child that grew up as an outcast is old and sad. The child could have been anyone, but the evil it had fled had left a mark, a facial scar to remember the past. How Lupa Lupin somehow left you alive after his raid on the old village. He must have had a purpose with that. The question is, what? There's no doubt you're the child, and that what Lupa Lupin did to your village, your Muma and Popsy, was the beginning of the end. He says it has taken you a long time to bring the past back up to the present, to find your way back, but he's grateful you have. It was after the attack that the unity fell apart. Your Muma's disciples divided and formed tribes as a reaction to the blight that had fallen upon the land. The impending threat of the World Eaters bringing down the Tree of Life is ever so close. He also worries about the Jagni tribe that's actively working for a doomsday and purging of the world. Had it not been for the Tree of Life, no one would have survived. He hopes you at least remember the tree. Asks if you were tired, as it's a bit of a hike here from the village. He wonders if your Muma knows you are here. You're such a good child, so you probably did. Even the young forget. He understands why you came all the way out here, to see them, the potato people. The potato people, or Nono, are a wonder, somehow interlinked with this little tree here fueling its source of life. Magic? He claims it's just the force of life, the existence of energy, powering and connecting all things living, like the Nono. The Nono prefer to hide in glitter grass. He says you should get over there and ruffle it. See if you can make one come out of hiding. You found one. You should be proud. They don't come out for everyone. The Nono's key energy is just what the Pensai needs to complete its cycle and grow into a tree of life. Only time will tell. At least his intention is to dedicate his life to it. He has the feeling the fate of the world depends on it. You'll need to support the tree for a long time to come. The only way it'll grow tall is with the burst of ki released from the Nono as they become one with the tree. You'll need a net to catch the Nono, and he wants you to use his, but asks you to be gentle. The Nono are sensitive beings, an embodiment of Ki, the primal energy. You handle that net like you've never done anything else. He's impressed. He's grateful for all the help he can get. There's lots of Nono out there that need to be guided to the roots of the Pensai tree. Oh, it'll need a continuous flux of Ki over the 12 months to come, so countless, he'd say. One day, he hopes the tree will have grown tall enough to sustain the world. But today, your focus is getting this one to become one with the tree. Now that you've seen the Nono's connection with the tree with your own eyes, you have no reason to doubt. From this day on, he'll make nurturing the Pensai into a tree of life, a life goal, not only for our village's sake, but for all of us, everyone. One day, the land won't be as peaceful. Not even your Muma will be able to protect us. You can already see the effects from how reckless those before us acted, and unless something changes, we're doomed. The land won't survive the side effects of the old world's industrial advances. He says you'd better hurry back to the village before your Muma comes looking for you. You did good here today. No, she's got lots on her mind and needs rest after the raid last night on the Lupin camp with her disciples. Wonders if they let the Predator family live or not. He lost you there for a while, but no memory is alone. He says he remembers every single day he devoted to growing the Tree of Life, but now he's afraid it might be in vain. The tree started to die when the end of days begun, and it wasn't long after that that the World Eaters arrived. The genetic evolution that occurred after the apocalypse that Toxinol Corporation inflicted on the land set the World Eaters' DNA into overdrive. His friend Gizmo is working on a Mekton and needs help defeating the Jumbo Puff at the end of the West Route. Wiz is still repairing his octopod to confront the Merc Puff that dwells deep down under the surface at the end of the Northwest Route. Nocco has tamed the Midget and is preparing to take on the Hoof Puff at the end of the East Route. Finally, Goop is almost done with the Goo Glide, a machine able to ride the waves of the surf all the way out to the Porky Puff at the end of the route to the southeast. Out of Date says his friends are gearing up to stop the World Eaters. There's one at the end of each route. The road ahead won't be easy, but he's counting on your support. His friends aren't strong enough to end this on their own. He wants you to understand that you'll all die if the tree isn't saved. His friends have prepared something specific for each World Eater. The Mekton, the Octopod, the Majute, and the Googlide are almost ready to ride. Regardless, you'll meet again once you've played your part in the tribe war and the situation with the World Eaters.
In case you haven't already been able
This
to pick
area
up.
was beautiful before the tribe war began. Look at it now. It's a war zone.
You can't already tell I'm going with Myriad. I've already done Jagni. It's neat, but let's play nice for this one. Climbing's very easy in this game. Basically run into a ladder and jump. So I believe there's fall damage, but it's not a lot. I'm not sure how long this series is going to be. It's probably going to be a longer one.
Sibi? La fanen aginkan man. Gerat na fal hutut mus. Tugai la wute.
The Myriad tribe act on understanding of the greater good and a code of honor. They believe uniting the tribes is the only way to restore the peace. The Sifu is convinced that defeating the World Eaters and saving the Tree of Life is the only way to make the world a better place. He welcomes you to the Myriad Fort and introduces himself as the tribe's Sifu. But he was hoping you'd show up. The news of a vigilante Ronin on crusade crossing the Great Wall through the crack in Bunker 101 has preceded you. The wall that separates them from the other side? The wasteland you came from? He guesses the time spent there just left a blank space in your memory, as empty and barren as the wasteland itself. He's convinced you've returned for a reason, and is glad you chose to come here. There's something about your spirit that sparks memories of you as a kidling. He can still sense you're kind-hearted. The Sifu says sometimes one memory can make another come to life. He hasn't thought about your Muma for ages, even though she taught him a lot. He was one of the original Wang Fu disciples. Your Muma invented Wang Fu. Originally, it consisted of unarmed combat and the 6 weapons: the boomerang, the shuriken, the bow, the staff, the nunchuk, and the hook and chain. The Sifu says it's time to set the past aside, at least for now. Unrest is sweeping the land, and there are rivals in all directions. Myriad wants unity between the tribes. Their goal is understanding of the greater good and establishing a code of honor. If you believe there's some good in everyone, there's still hope for tomorrow. You'll unite the tribes and defeat the World Eaters to save the Tree of Life. He was hoping you'd join them. You understand that there's no harm in doing good to others. The Sifu was waiting for something to tip the balance in their favor, and with you by their side, he's confident you can unite the other tribes. The one you should coerce first is the Jagni tribe. The Myriad were placed here to fulfill a certain purpose, chosen to unite the tribes and take control of their destiny. The tribes need a firm hand guiding them into the future.